When we'd finished making it, I took a quarter-inch home and I played it to my then wife, and she burst into tears. And I thought, well, she feels the same way I do. We finally...
For nearly 4 decades, Pink Floyd fans have witnessed one of rock music's most bitter feuds. Roger Waters and David Gilmour, the creative forces behind some of the most iconic albums in music history, have been locked in a war that has torn apart one of the world's greatest bands. But now, in a shocking moment of vulnerability, Roger Waters has finally revealed the real reason behind his hatred for David Gilmour. What he's admitted goes far deeper than creative differences or money disputes. It's a confession so raw and personal that it explains decades of animosity and reveals the tragic human cost of artistic genius. The truth will devastate Pink Floyd fans who always hoped for reconciliation, because what Waters has revealed makes it clear that some wounds can never heal. Let's explore the devastating truth behind one of music's most painful feuds. The foundation of creative warfare. To understand Roger Waters' shocking confession, we need to examine how their collaboration transformed into a battle for creative control. By the mid-1970s, Waters had effectively taken over Pink Floyd's artistic direction. While The Dark Side of the Moon had been truly collaborative, Waters increasingly dominated songwriting and conceptual development. The situation reached a breaking point during The Wall in 1979. Waters conceived the album as his personal statement, drawing from his own experiences. This meant Gilmour's contributions were increasingly seen as secondary, despite his guitar work being essential to the band's sound. The album's success only reinforced Waters' belief that he was the true creative genius behind Pink Floyd. The most devastating blow came with The Final Cut in 1983, which many consider a Waters solo album. Gilmour later revealed his frustration, stating, "I didn't even want to be on it. It's not a Pink Floyd album. It's Roger's album." This marginalization created resentment that would fester for decades. Waters' dominance wasn't accidental. It was a deliberate power grab that left Gilmour feeling creatively stifled. The delicate balance that had sustained Genesis through their most successful period was crumbling under Waters' need for complete control. This dynamic set the stage for the explosive hatred that Waters would later confess to harboring. The jealousy confession that shocked the world. In a surprising 2023 interview, Roger Waters made a confession that sent shockwaves through the Pink Floyd community. For the first time, he admitted that his hatred for David Gilmour stemmed from jealousy and insecurity rather than creative differences. Waters revealed, "I think I hated David at the time because he was everything I wasn't: charismatic, effortless, and likable. Maybe I was just jealous that his guitar could speak emotions when my words always fell short." This moment of vulnerability was unprecedented for Waters, who had spent decades portraying himself as the intellectual superior. The confession exposed the psychological warfare within Pink Floyd. While Waters saw himself as the band's brain, he secretly resented that Gilmour was seen as the heart. Waters admitted, "I hated him because somehow people saw him as the heart and I was the brain. But we both needed each other, and maybe that's the tragedy." This revelation recontextualized every public dispute. What fans interpreted as artistic disagreements were actually manifestations of Waters' insecurity about his own likability. While Waters could craft complex narratives, Gilmour possessed the natural magnetism that made him beloved by fans and musicians alike. The jealousy extended to their roles in the band's success. Waters believed his conceptual vision drove Pink Floyd's achievements, but couldn't ignore that Gilmour's guitar work was equally essential. This created a painful contradiction. Waters needed Gilmour to realize his vision, but resented him for being indispensable. Legal warfare and public humiliation. Waters' jealousy manifested in legal battles and public attacks that devastated both men. After leaving in 1985, his attempts to prevent Gilmour and Nick Mason from continuing, as Pink Floyd revealed the depth of his hatred. Waters' legal challenge wasn't just about the band's name. It was about destroying Gilmour's ability to continue without him. As Waters told Rolling Stone, "They ripped off something that wasn't just mine, but it wasn't entirely theirs either. Pink Floyd was over when I left." This revealed his belief that Pink Floyd couldn't exist without his leadership. The battle became increasingly personal. Waters felt Gilmour's continuation was illegitimate and a personal insult. He couldn't accept that the band could be successful without him, especially when their post-Waters albums achieved critical and commercial success. Public attacks became bitter and personal. Waters criticized Gilmour's playing as beautiful but emotionless, while Gilmour responded, "With Roger, it was his way or the highway." The 2005 Live 8 reunion hoped to heal their relationship, instead highlighted their animosity. Waters admitted, "Playing together again was lovely for the fans, but it was very uncomfortable." The Family Feud and personal attacks. The hatred reached toxic levels when family members became involved. In 2020, Waters accused Gilmour of banning him from Pink Floyd's website, claiming, "David thinks he owns it all." This revealed ongoing resentment about being excluded from the band's activities. The situation exploded in February 2023 when Gilmour's wife, Polly Sampson, launched a devastating Twitter attack, calling Waters anti-Semitic, misogynistic, and a Putin apologist. When Gilmour backed his wife, declaring, "Every word is true," it became clear the hatred had infected their families. But what made Waters' confession devastating was his admission that this feud had cost him more than just a professional relationship. Could Pink Floyd have continued creating masterpieces if Waters had overcome his jealousy? The question haunts fans who were deprived of potential greatness because of personal animosity. Waters' hatred became so consuming that it prevented reconciliation, even as both men aged. Richard Wright's 2008 death reminded everyone that time was running out, but even this tragedy couldn't bridge the gap Waters' jealousy had created. The devastating legacy of hatred. Waters' confession has devastated fans because it reveals their feud was never about creative differences. It was about jealousy that destroyed one of music's greatest partnerships. The impact extends far beyond the two men, affecting Pink Floyd's entire legacy. The most heartbreaking aspect is how it reframes the band's history. Fans who hoped time would heal wounds now understand the hatred runs too deep. Waters' jealousy wasn't temporary, it was fundamental to how he viewed Gilmour. The confession explains why every reunion attempt failed. The 2005 Live 8 performance was tainted by underlying tension Waters has now revealed. His statement that, "We both needed each other, and maybe that's the tragedy," acknowledges their partnership was essential, but his jealousy made it unsustainable. For fans, the devastating realization is that some of Pink Floyd's greatest music emerged from this toxic dynamic. Tension between Waters' vision and Gilmour's expression created masterpieces like Comfortably Numb. But knowing this friction was rooted in hatred, rather than healthy competition, changes how we understand these songs. Waters' confession highlights the human cost of artistic genius. His admission reveals the psychological toll of being in one of the world's most successful bands. The pressure ultimately destroyed their relationship and deprived the world of decades of potential collaboration. Both men are now in their 70s, and reconciliation seems impossible. Waters' honest admission might have been healing if it came decades earlier. But now it mainly explains why Pink Floyd fans will never see their heroes reunited. The most heartbreaking aspect is that it makes clear why Pink Floyd can never truly reunite. Waters' jealousy wasn't temporary, it was fundamental to their relationship and ultimately destroyed one of music's greatest collaborations. What do you think? Does Waters' confession make their feud more tragic? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to Factsverse, and hit that notification bell for more devastating stories from rock music. Thanks for watching.